Hello friends, very good morning. So let's start today's news. First, we are going to talk about global market. So Dow Jones was up on Friday by almost 575 points and Nasdaq by almost 391 points. Now the reason was that the inflation and the growth is slowing down there, and that was the recent reports. And the Fed chairman told that yes, if the inflation and the growth slows down, then there is a chance that they may not increase rates. Well, basically, next 2 months they are going to increase it, but afterwards they may keep a cap on the increase rate, because the reason was that the main mission why they are doing all this, they want to bring down inflation and the growth of the economy. Now, once the growth of economies, once the inflation starts coming down, correct? Now they can restrict the Fed rate increase, because at the end of the day, their main motto is to control the inflation. So that is a positive news, and that's why US market was up on Friday, and that basically the US 10-year bond yield was around 2.74% now, which is much lower than earlier 3.2%, which was there few months ago. What it shows? It shows that yes, the growth rate projection of the US economy is going down. In a way, that is a good news to an equity market, because that is the only reason the US Fed rate will not increase the rates, and that's a plus point for the developing country like India also. Now, US bond yield, as I told, is 2.74%. But now what they are saying that, of course, it will not go to 3% again, but it may go lower down again from 2.74%, provided the economy slows down. Now, taking all this slow, so as I said, by the time I'm recording this video is almost 98 points up. So we can expect a good bounce back in our Nifty also once the market starts. Dollar index is around 101.64, and it is the reason is that US dollar is weakening against major economies currency. So at one time it reached to 106, 107. Correct? Now it is around 101.6 something. So that is a good sign, because dollar index should be around 95 onwards, because that is the level at which US and will be comfortable, and also Indian economy will be comfortable, because now the as the US dollar strengthens, the money flow may go from basically developing country like India to developed countries. Now talking about money flow, one data which shows that from last year October, when all this downtick started, no, from October till now, US FII has sold basically 2.5 lakh crores of equity in the secondary market. Now, this is one of the highest in recent, I think, in a decade also. The reason was that, of course, that because the quantitative easing was going off, and US was increasing it, that's why the dollar was going to the safe haven, to that is US, and the bond yield at that level was in US was around 3. Now it is cooler off, but yes, that's why it was slowing. But even if you talk about Friday also, FI sold around 1,943 crore, and DI bought around 2,727 crores. Okay, so in May, only in May, FI sold around 44,300 crore. And if you talk about DI, they bought around 47,400 crores. Now, actually, DI is surpassing the FII on the buying side in a big way, and that is the reason why our market is still at this level. It is not going down. So that is the biggest positive. If you take data of last 1 year, India is the one of the best performing index across the world. Okay, best performing. What it shows? It shows that India is quite resilient. And once if this downward what is happening in US may come to an end, and if FI comes back again, India may go in a will be in a very better position compared to earlier years also. And thanks to all the DIIs and the retail investors who are participating, this side is always told now that if your local public is participating, you are less dependent on the foreign countries, and that is what it is showing currently. Now, Moody's has lowered growth interest rate of India from 9.1 to 8.8%, 0.30 basis point they have cut, and for the next agency is maintaining a forecast of 5.4%. The reason why they are reducing the next year forecast is that because of the high oil prices and because of the high inflation, RBI may increase the rate, and that's why the economy may slower down. So that is the major reason. That is why they are basically reducing the next year forecast to 5.4%. Talking about oil, oil again is around 119, and the reason is simple that Russia and Ukraine crisis now actually is not dying. Basically, this crisis is going on, and Russia is quite evident that yes, they want to take over Ukraine in a big way. But that is what now US is announcing various packages for the Ukraine, and IMF and most of the European countries are basically announced lot of package of to Ukraine. Now this is what called a destruction, guys. No, something it's of no worth, and no, we are wasting money, and world is wasting money on that type of war. Actually, no, Russia, the way they are abandoned and they are arrogant, the way they are dealing it is not a good sign. And because of that, only oil prices is up. So oil price is currently 119. Of course, I don't think they may reach to 150 or, but some analysts say that it may reach. The problem is the longer this war goes on, no, the metal prices will remain on a higher level. Of course, steel prices and most of the commodity has come from the top. Now it is settled, but you don't know what type of future situation will be there until this war goes on and on. Correct. So we have to keep a close watch on the metal prices because these metal prices will impact Indian economy a lot. Now, as the steel prices and all these are coming down, even the oil exchanges, you know that now major sectors like automobiles are getting a breather because that will bring the lower input costs, and they will be benefited through the sharp fall in the metal prices. Now, another big news is that basically in India, unicorn reach, that is Mr. Narendra Modi, our Prime Minister, has told in Mann Ki Baat that it has reached on $300 billion of a unicorn. Basically, that's a landmark figure, correct? Now, there are 100 unicorns in India, and the total valuation is in rupees term, if you talk about is 23 lakh 10,000. Now, that's a big amount. But the problem with the unicorn was that no, in last 3 years they got a very cheap money. Not 3 years, you can say from last 2 years. The day COVID started and everything, because the quantitative easing was there and lot of flow started coming into market, and that flow started going into all these unicorns, and they were having a crazy valuation. Actually, they were asking for the 10 and they were getting 15. That was happening because so much of liquidity was there. But now what is happening that liquidity is drying up, correct? And when the liquidity start drying up, these unicorn will start facing problems because these guys are not still coming into profit. Still, they are way ahead. Actually, there is a long way to go to bring to profit. Correct. Now, if your profitability is not there, if the funds get dry, then this unicorn start falling, and that is where valuation goes down. So there was a very cheap money from last 2 years, but however, very few unicorns are able to sail through this crisis when the money supply stops, because they don't have a profitability to fund their expansion. So we have to keep this in mind. But of course, India has grown a lot in unicorns, and lot of private equity players has come, and now lot of new entrepreneurs and young entrepreneurs are coming. So that's a good sign. Now, India trade to US has crossed the basically US become the number one trade partner for India. So it surpasses China also. However, if you see the data closely, it is around 44 billion of export to US, and not 44 billion dollars something. And again, US is similar, around 47 billion they are doing. So it's almost matching. But however, for China, no, our import has increased more than export. Now that is a bad sign. So that we have to keep in mind, because China is not a country where we can basically keep faith on it. No, the way they are dealing our border, treating our borders, no, it becomes very difficult to have faith on China. So yes, the problem with China for us is that our import is increasing more than export. So that's a big problem. Now talking about RBI is saying that RBI is much more in recent few interviews, RBI governor told that they are worried about 15% WPI inflation, which came around 1 week ago. Now, what is WPI inflation? Is nothing but business to business inflation, correct? Now, if the business to business inflation goes up, automatically yes, CPI inflation will go up, because it at the end of the day business will transfer that additional cost whatever they are basically bearing to the end customer and client. So CPI will increase. So for RBI this is always a problem. The problem is that if the WPI is higher, they have to think about what will happen CPI. So of course in next month and on next 2 months they are going to increase rate by 0.50. So we have to see that. But the problem is now, even though we have cut the excise duty on petrol and diesel, the oil prices are remaining at a higher level. So unless they don't come down, it's become very difficult for the RBI to control inflation. But yes, they that's why they are doing lot of other steps like banning on exports of not banning, sorry, levying a 15% duty on export of steel goods and so many other matters. Also, they have put some restriction and heavy taxes. So let's see how RBI will do. But see, the problem is that the RBI role has changed over the years. So if you talk about RBI almost 20, 30 years ago, no, or maybe 15 years ago, then their main role was to stabilize the price stability in the country. Okay. And what is the role of politician? Role of politician is to bring a growth. So, and of course, there is an electoral ballot every 4 years or 5 years happening. So, what is happening that they bring with the growth and they try to print easy money. But however, RBI always checks that they should not, they cannot cross the limit. Correct? This was the main role about the government and the RBI. But now RBI from last you can say 5 to 6 years or 10 years, no, RBI's stance has changed. Now we are going for the pro growth. They are going for the growth. Okay, they normally this type of language earlier it never used to come, but now it is normally seen in the RBI meetings also that they talk about growth and they are supporting growth and all that. So agenda of RBI has also changed over the years. But yes, if the problem is that because of this, no, inflation normally goes quite high because RBI is also supporting growth. Correct. That's why they normally allow inflation to go up, and that is why you can see such a high inflation in US or in India. Like in US, it is currently the highest in last 40 years. Why it happened? It happened because this Fed chairman, basically Fed committee, now is waiting for the growth. Okay, they are for the growth, and that's why they sometimes ignore the inflation because they want to push for the growth. Correct. So that is the reason you can see so much of high inflation across the world. Now talking about, let us talk about some of the domestic results. Nika has come out with result, and there was a fall of almost 33%, and the net profit fall to 4.4 crore, 413 crore compared to last year due to steep marketing and other operating expenses. However, Nika is basically you can say is one of an company, new age company who are still in profit. Rest of the companies not even profit also, like Paytm and Zomato and all that stuff. No, still at least Nika is able to deliver profit, so that is a good sign. Now JSW still declined by almost 20% to around 3 to 3 4 crores, and because the reason was simple, there was a surge in raw material prices, powerful, and other raw inventory costs and other payments were there. So that was the main reason. You can see why, because metal prices was high across the world, so their raw material costs increased, and again the fuel is shortage. Now talking about fuel, as I told you that Coal India is trying to meet the demand of Indian government and Indian public. The problem is that deficit so high that government now announced that the Coal India should start importing coal from other countries also. Now this is the first time in almost 7 to 8 years that now Coal India will import coal, because there is a power shortage across the country, and to in order to meet the demand of state and government, no, they are going to import coal. Now, United Spirits profit fall by almost 12% to 178 crore, and the reason was simple. Main reason was raw material and the market prices. Now, another good news came from Tata Motors that they are going to take over Ford company plant which was there in Sanand in Ahmedabad. So they got the permission. So, anyways, Tata Motor was having an plant in Sanand that was of Nano. Okay, and it is having a setup. So now they are going to get another established plant, already established plant of Ford. They are going to buy it. So that's a positive news for Tata Motors. And of course, they got the permission for that. So they don't have to worry about it. Adani Defense and Technology, Defense System and Technology, which is a subsidiary of Adani Company, is going to buy 50% stake in General Aeronautics. So now Adani is trying to explore more in even defense sector also in a much bigger way. So now Adani you can see it is across the sector. So they are very much betting about the infrastructure of Indian economy. So we have to keep an eye about this new agreement also and the acquisition. So hopefully, let's see. Adani Defense in System Technology still not listed, so you will not come to know in the market. But this is one of the acquisition they made. So guys, this was the news for today. Hope you like this video. If you like it, click the like button, subscribe to my channel. I'll deliver more better content every day. Do subscribe to my channel for daily news and top recommendations and analysis across sectors. I had done a good analysis about which three stocks to buy for in information technology in at the current level. So you can go and watch the video which will come next. And by the way, I will see you soon tomorrow. So stay tuned. Thank you.